Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the fourth Global Virtual Meeting in Gifted Education, Second Life. I'm glad that you are all here and you will spend your time with our global virtual meeting. And we invited two great speakers tonight or today. Let me introduce you Dr. Deborah Ruf from USA. She is the first speaker, and I will give her to introduce herself a little, maybe. Deborah?
Okay. Hello, it's nice to be here. I'm really not good at this stuff. I mean, my speech is going to be okay, but it took me forever to get into Second Life. And my youngest son's fiance made my avatar, and I gave her pictures, but I'm thinking I look a little plain now. That said, I am in the Minneapolis area of Minnesota in the USA, and I will try to make my comments fit people who are in other countries as well as the United States. And so we were planning on having me speak about 20 minutes and then Mary speak about 20 minutes, and then we would leave time for questions. So please save your questions until we've both had a chance to do some speaking so that we allow enough time for both of our topics. So I will move in so I can see the screen. And now do I click to move?
I will do that for you.
Oh, okay. I'm ready to move to the next slide.
Okay.
Okay. We are going to quickly talk about what is underachievement in gifted students. Where does gifted underachievement come from? How does level of giftedness, how gifted, in other words, how does it affect the likelihood of one becoming an underachiever? And how do both gender and personality differences affect the likelihood of underachievement? They're all related. And so there is no one size fits all when we talk about gifted underachievement. Lots of things to consider. Next slide, please.
Just listen for a sec.
Here.
There we go. What is underachievement in gifted students? Well, there are a couple different thoughts on that, and we're going to look at the one that I don't think is the correct one before we look at the one that I will address in more depth. So next slide, please. For different viewpoints. Many people think that bright children are underachieving when they're not doing well in school, meaning they get poor grades, they have uncooperative behavior, they don't turn in their assignments, they don't pay attention, they aren't organized. It can lead to bad study habits. Parents and teachers worry that the children are going to get bad habits. They will not have the opportunities they need to take the best courses, to get into the best universities, to get a good job, and most obviously, it leads to trouble in school. So that is what brings a lot of my clients to me, that kind of behavior that is clearly leading to the children not learning at an optimal level. But where does real underachievement come from?
I'm speaking about underachievement in writing by students who are gifted, and a lot of Deborah's really excellent points make sense in terms of just focusing on the writing of these children as well. But before I do that, I'd just like to comment on what I'm wearing. One of the things about learning to use Secondlife is learning what the limits are and what you can achieve with the medium. I found that the most fun way for me to learn not to crash into walls was to go shopping. So I bought some flash clothes, and I also found it's a way of exploring with my imagination. a way of expressing myself, and a way of pushing the limits with what I've learned to do in Second Life so far. That's the way that we want our children to approach their writing. To motivate them, they have to be thinking, what's fun for me to learn? Which limits can I push? How can I express myself in writing? So I thought, with that little metaphor in mind, I'd wear my fancy dress-ups and break the usual rules that to be taken seriously, you should wear a dark suit. So now we'll get started talking about writing. Just got someone arriving to join us now. If you'd like to right-click on a seat and then select sit here. Thank you. Next slide, please. This photo is the backdrop that I've chosen for all my slides. I searched for a free-to-use image of a pencil, and I found this amazing sculpture. It's a sculpture of 72 pencils that somebody has copied, and they've put their photographs in Flickr. They've commented on how difficult it's been for them, and that it's easier to do with Bavarian, in other words, by 3D graphics, than with pencils. And I thought the image itself was a great metaphor for the complexity of writing, and what we're asking our children to do, particularly if writing is difficult for them. They're bringing in so many of their personality factors, motivation factors, factors of whether they've been encouraged to challenge themselves or not, as Deborah has spoken about. And the teacher is balancing all these complex issues as we seek to help. And the fact that the creator of the image has said it's much easier another way. How often do our children tell us if writing isn't their thing? It's much easier if I could show you. It's much easier if I could tell you. I don't want to write it down. But this creator of the photograph has persevered, and that's what we're trying to help our children to do when they've been identified as gifted, but writing isn't coming naturally to them. Next slide, please. When we have a gifted child who isn't writing at age or above, or maybe writing significantly below, the way they feel about themselves is they don't feel clever. They may know that they're good at something, but overall, we're measured by our writing a lot, particularly at school, and they often think, I'm silly, I'm dumb, I can't do it. Teachers in regular classes tend to look at these kids and say they're clearly not gifted, even if mum and dad are waving around a piece of paper that purports to prove that they are. And parents, if they think they've got a bright little cookie and that child hits the school system and doesn't launch with writing, tend to experience a lot of self-doubt. They're saying,